Vert Electronic, what do you do?
We have the presenter somewhere coming. Okay. So yeah, Vert Electronic. We belong to a German group, Vert, which is really famous. It's a family-owned business since World War II founded. Normally making screws, nuts, bolts, fastening technology, acting in over 85 countries all over the globe with this fastening technology. And now we were founded roughly, our division, the Vert Electronic ISOs division, we were founded in 1993 because the owner is a bit like thinking, having a lot of companies within the Vert as a holding today, so have a lot of companies in your group, make them small and flexible, with this like a startup idea, make them flexible, make them local. We learned this morning already, be close to your customer, talk the language of your customer, talk like your customer. So we have even entities in France because French people also think French, talk French, live the French way. We are in Italy, as we're everywhere, we even are in Asia. So we're really local. And we were founded thinking of, besides my traditional business, screws, nuts, bolts, fastening technology, let's go for electronics. And so when we switch to the presentation slides, when you ask me what we do support any kind of electronics. And when you switch on the presentation, so you can find us in very exciting electronics, which you can see at the highest point of the Earth. Yeah, so in, let's say, RF communication devices, there are our components inside, but you also find us in the very deep in Earth, in the Mariandic, where we have sensors looking for earthquake happenings coming up. So we support any kind of electronics. I can tell you where we are not in the mobile phone.
Not in the mobile phone.
We support any other kind of electronics design. Even here in this robot we've seen just before, you can find our components.
Your stuff is in there?
Yeah, absolutely.
What part of it?
I cannot tell, we just talked about how much can I disclose here, but of course I was not permitted to say exactly where we are in, but the electronic components
so
are in.
Part of that, part of Franca?
Yes, we are inside.
Inside.
Absolutely.
Have a seat. So I just wanted to get into based on what Vert Electronic does. The session is on creativity meets customer.
Absolutely.
Right? And I wanted to, one of the things I think just now was talking about the digital age, the information age. What I found, I've been in the ad industry in particular, with programmatic, with all the stuff that's been digitized, KPIs, all that stuff, that there's sort of lack of creativity in a lot of what I've seen. Do you find that? Do you see that in your experiences, your clients?
As we see, I would say no, there's not a lack of creativity. The thing is, does creativity get seen? Does it get the right support from people and from companies, or like companies like ours or other companies? Creativity is there, but to bring this idea to work, you need support, because your idea, like when we talk about inventions, you have a good idea, you have to bring it to market. So you have to have, of course, we heard it this morning, you have to have money, or someone giving you money for your idea to make it work. You have to have the right people. And what I've learned also, my career, I had also a startup as a friend, but we failed, and we failed because of not getting the electronic component for our hardware solution. Because whatever we do, if you talk about Internet of Things, if you talk about 5G, if you talk about the Internet of Cows or Internet of Tomato, whatever you call it, you need somewhere hardware. But if I'm such a small entity as a startup, how do I get my support in the electronic component? And in behind of this also about how to get this all connected and to work.
So, creativity, then you're saying creativity is hand-in-hand in innovation. Right, so it's beyond being, Mozart and
as creativity, we say, okay, creativity is the point of invention. You have an idea. Innovation is even more. You have to bring it to market. You have to make it accessible for the market. You have to have the right market research made, that the market is there, looking for this solution, wanting this solution. And then you have to have it available, that you can really produce it for the time where you need it. And this is where we mostly see that a lot of young hardware startups or startups needing hardware have some trouble to get their simplest device, the smallest device, eventually the last piece of the puzzle. And that's why we say, if you work with us together, we can support you on this kind of component support, and even more, how to get this electronics totally working, because we have experts supporting.
But you're saying you'll find solutions, right? So it's, someone can come up with a crazy idea. I don't know, shoestrings that tie themselves or something like that. What do they do?
Mainly the good ideas come during the night, huh? When you sleep or you wake up. Hopefully you have some kind of paper besides your bed and you write down this idea. You have this, wow, you have seen this, oh, I need to do this one or that one. And then the question is, to whom do I talk if I'm a young startup, if I'm a young engineer, but not so long time in the market? I'm quite old. I'm 22 years in that company. I'm an engineer by heart, hardware engineer by heart. So to whom do I talk then about my idea? Is it a robot? This robot cannot talk to me, right?
That one can.
So to whom do I talk about this idea? I go in more detail about my idea, and then it comes to really the thing, how do I solve it? And here we come into the game. We have a network of customers, network of supporters, network of consultants, our own consultants, where we can put pieces and puzzles together and make this solution working, or start the solution. And we don't fear if you as a startup only need one piece or 10 pieces. Yeah? It's for us not important. More important is, does the solution have a good market? And then we go and support you.
And you're saying you have consultants and everything, so someone can have an idea, but then they're going to need help to sort of, they don't understand all the bits and pieces that might come into, as I said, the shoestring, right? Is that, you guys help them with that, like various, throughout the creative process or the innovation process?
Yeah, as we have a different kind of idea, let's say creation phase. You have very experienced or more experienced engineers, then they fail, let's say, in time to market because a single piece is missing. Let's say the EMC testing, CE testing is not working properly, or availability. Or you have really more unexperienced people which do not know how to connect all the things together. Then consultants come in, but that's really individual case. We talk to these young engineers and women of engineers to see what support you need.
Do you find that most of those people actually don't, they just have an idea and they don't actually understand all the way through and they need that help?
The thing is, the electronics is changing and the market are changing so fast. What we found, I told you, we had also our own startup, and we do also still electronics design. And we have later an example we can show you in collaboration here with Global Foundries. And I can tell you, I burned also a lot of money in this process because my estimation was wrong. And during the process, making the first product attempt to market, we failed. I personally burned a lot of money there. So because you cannot know everything. And the thing is what even Steffi says and the team says, come together, bring brains together, collaborate. And that's where we jump in and say, when you talk about us, about electronics design, electronic components, it's not the need that you know everything in every detail. Our components look super simple and stupid eventually for you in the first attempt, but connecting them together, bringing them to work, bringing them to life can cost you time and money, but you want to be fast on the market. You want to get fast on the market, and it's the debugging, we would say, in the hardware, that we can also jump in.
You mentioned Global Foundries before, so we have Junsil from Global Foundries coming up.
Yes.
So Junsil is with Global Foundries.
Nice to meet you.
He's been in the semiconductor space for many, many years. You need a microphone?
What do you have to microphone?
Oh, it's coming on that way here.
They bring it, okay.
Yeah, so, give us a bit of tell us what Global Foundries does and, how you guys work together.
Thank you, Joe. Global Foundries, value worth as a very strong partner. Our primary business is the making of semiconductor chips specifically to bring creative value, like Worth, where their ideas of making products that get to the world, solve good problems, and really game changer happens. And our primary activity is to bring together the technologies it needs at the right timing, and objectively also at the right cost structure to make it work.
Yeah. And what we have seen on the slide is, I've it also here an original size, some small pieces for so-called power management. So I don't know if the camera can catch it from this slide here, what I have in hand. It's a very small device for power management. So where do I need it? I need it in many devices. I can slip back a bit here on.
It's still showing this one.
Yeah, so it's okay. I'm just looking for the slide. So we have many solutions where we need this power. Let's say for wearables, yeah, you need power management in your wearable, not a big power supply carrying with you all the time. So you need very small power. And where the thing came up here is we have to make this power management very small, very energy efficient. And so we have an expertise as Würth Electronic Isers in the magnetics design. And Global Foundries has a very good expertise also in making these semiconductor, the wafers. And normally these two technologies don't like each much because they call our technology, in brackets, a dirty technology. It's because of many ferrites involved. But in semiconductor process, you don't like it. So we had to sit together and say, how do we now combine our technologies? How do we invent new things which do not have this obstacle and saying we cannot put it in the same process in their factories? And we found a process. But that is, again, an example of collaboration.
Yeah. So,
working close together.
Can you give an example of some products either you guys done together or something like that, and like end consumer products that we may use but we don't know?
Yeah, we see it here in that slide. It's for, especially also for some kind of medical portable test equipment, anything going portable. So because normally you have now many portable devices, very slim, very thin. And of course, battery usage is one of the other thing here. If you have your device charged, it should stay long, right? It should not go off after 2 hours of usage. It should stay 8, 10, 12, or even more hours. And that's all about energy management. So how efficient is your power supply and how long can you utilize the battery power? And that's where these devices are made for. And we have to shrink them. So the next generation, this is not the actual generation here, the next generation is 50% of the size or even smaller. And that is where we need, of course, to collaborate.
So how small is that? You have different versions.
Actually, this is now by
nanometers.
It's not nanometers. It's even too large scale. It's 3.2 by 1.8 millimeter in height. It has to shrink even.
It has to shrink even more.
50% and even below.
That's right.
That's where we have
That's where we work
collaboration.
closely.
Because you guys on the wafer side, so that semiconductors are getting smaller and smaller to Moore's law, if you will.
That's right. We are shrinking too many things into a little device that we put in our pocket for the mobile phone. And the only problem we have is it constantly goes out of power. We need Worth, and we need exactly these creativity products to bring out a longer life.
Absolutely, yeah. And that is a nice example. Even that collaboration is over from Singapore to German Design Center in Munich. So it's really also an international co-working. And that is eminent. That also I've learned this morning, right? Co-working together and go out of your comfort zone, ask your colleague and to see how it works.
Global Foundries is a Singapore company, right?
Yeah, we are based with factories in Singapore. We have Germany as well as in New York. So our corporate headquarters is in Santa Clara. Specifically just for what Worth does, I really want to highlight that strength, collaboration in order to bring the innovation forward. We work closely with Worth because we know that semiconductor manufacturing is very much different.
Absolutely.
Right? So we have to count on you to actually create the value by defining the product to work, and we'll collaborate closely to make the technology for you.
So are you using robots?
We do. In the factories.
Not using humans? You're not using humans to put
humans
together
and robots as well.
The nano,
It's a highly automated manufacturing site.
Right.
So if you go in, it's like, wow. no one touching
it's
any
has to
wafer.
be, right?
It's highly automated, yeah.
Stepping back into our sort of creativity bit, I spend a lot of money on Kickstarter and like Indiegogo. I mean, I don't shop, and my wife goes to Lazada and Amazon and stuff like that and buys the stuff. Me, I just I get the ad for this latest thing on Kickstarter, or Indiegogo or what other crowdsourcing platforms. Are you guys like supporting that? I mean, is that a lot of what you do?
Also, you find there are a lot of solutions which are really customer driven because someone has an idea and brings it to work. And we can, of course, support these people with their ideas because they can get the components. We have local sales everywhere. We give samples free of charge. You can get small number of pieces for the manufacturing of your idea. Yes, we support them. And it's funny to see you have crowdsourcing there, or crowdfunding there. And we say we cannot crowdfund or go VC-wise in every of these startups, but we can support them with the hardware, the samples, whatever. So we have different kind of steps how to support these companies.
Do you actually fund some of them?
We have
or
our
help?
own startups where we have our funding in it, but it's really mainly hardware based.
Mainly hardware.
Yeah.
So it's some interesting things. I mean, I'm just looking for from a creativity perspective. Like, what are we expecting from crowdsourcing? Like, what some interesting projects that you guys have done?
Yeah, the thing is with crowdfunding, the thing is, it goes beside management decisions. So normally in big companies, the bigger the company gets, your management sees your innovation idea or doesn't see the innovation idea. So you make it public and people, and that's mainly customers, vote for your idea, find this is a good solution, or they say no, it's not a good solution. And you know it immediately. Is there a market or not a market? And that's where we find some of startups also failing with the right market analysis. Did they really explore the market need and demand for the market? And crowdfunding gives you the idea because people vote for you, give money, and say, yes, there is market.
Do those,
make it live.
Do those crowdsourcing founders actually understand what needs to happen? They come up with an idea, and do they really understand? Because I half of the stuff I get don't get delivered.
Yeah, but it decides later on if the quality is the right quality I produce and so on and so forth. It's a lot of other stories, but the basic question is there a market? You could get the answer very immediately.
Yeah.
What is in manufacturing? Is it a high quality product? Does it run long time, long lasting, sustainable? That's a different question. But you asked about the crowdfunding process.
Yes. No, that's quite interested in that. Well, cool. Running out of time. Any last words from you? Because I think your products, your PCBs, printed circuit boards. For those that noticed, I'm a bit of a geek myself. Well, probably in a lot of stuff that I have.
Yeah. So what we do is, as said, we get challenged from our customers. We get challenged with. We are also supporting the electrical race series Formula E, which is now also running around the globe, and we get a lot of challenges here. Again, it's about energy efficiency, energy management, and we get from these teams really highly requests how to make the components better. So that drives our own product innovation cycle. We have other technologies where we say it's very interesting for us. It's about the what we had seen here, urban farming or horticulture. That's supporting the idea, and we make the right LED component for this one, where we say this is really, do we have to send the fruits from A to B or whatever, or can we grow it where we need to grow it? And that's very energy efficient. You save a lot of energy here by doing it with LED. You can do it in old factories and support them with LED light there and grow the
sustainability, growth, urban farming, as you said, trying to.
And of course, any kind of medical devices where we are also highly in research with other companies, and we made some special solutions here with our partners from Würth Electronic PCB side to watch the baby in the intensive care. Is the breathing correct? Is the heart rate correct? Because it has to be 24, not impacting the baby too much with all these gluing stickers everywhere, and make it more easy to sense it. So we go in a lot of fields where we see it's also having an impact and interesting part for users. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I mean, I learned a lot. I mean, the idea is a lot of what you build is actually in a lot of the stuff that we use on a day-to-day basis, and we sort of take it for granted.
Yeah.
The creativity that we see, actually needs to be built.
Absolutely. And
needs to be designed at the small, tiny, microprocessors, semiconductors, chips, and the PC board, and and the way. I think we're ever going to be more and more reliant on this stuff than we actually ever realize.
Yeah. And the key is, again, the things look simple, these components look simple, but our passion is to make them available. Make them
simple for us.
And
we
make it simple for you as a user. Absolutely. Correct.
And to differentiate.
Of course.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please give him a round of applause. And
Thanks. Go.